My name is Morgan Russell and I'm from North Dakota State University, and today I've got Ben and Nick with me, and we're going to talk about how to properly launch and establish your thermocouples in the field prior to burning.
Hi, my name is Ben Bredigan, and today we will be preparing our data logger for use in the field. Right now we are in the computer lab and we will be hooking up our data logger to the computer and using HoboWare to prepare all the settings for the burn. This can be done the day of the burn, or if you have a laptop, you can bring it to the field and actually do it while you are on location. We're going to connect the data logger to the USB port. You're going to plug in the provided cord to the PC in the USB slot, and also on the data logger there is a USB port on the bottom of it, and once you plug that in, you should see in the bottom left hand corner of the screen it will say device Hobo U12-014 thermocouple JKST. And this is how you know that your software is reading the thermocouple. So what we're going to do now is click on device, which is on the top left corner of the screen, and it will pop up with a pop-up menu saying launch logger. What we're going to want to do now is click on our channels to log. We're going to click on channel 1, which is thermocouple K-type. And we want to make sure that the 2 and 3 are not logging. And we'll want to change our logging interval to 1 second. And if we want to trigger our launcher in the field, we'll click on trigger under launch options. And finally, we can hit launch. After it gets done loading, we should be good to go, and you can safely eject your data logger from the computer, and it is ready to go.
We're going to run you through the steps and the different components of the data logger, thermocouple, and the pellet. The data loggers are launched the previous night or prior to being in the field, so they're ready for quick deployment. One thing you want to check for after you've completed that procedure prior to being in the field is that the light is blinking every 5 to 8 seconds, and sometimes you have to put your hand over it to shield it from the sun and check. It's kind of difficult to see, but and then they're all ready to be put into the field. This is the light right here that lets us know if the data logger is ready to launch and record data. It'll blink every 5 to 8 seconds if that's the case, and then we're ready to deploy it in the field to collect data. We want to push this black button and hold it for approximately 3 to 5 seconds, and then we can recheck that light, and it should be blinking about every second.
Okay, and what keeps the data logger that Nick was explaining protected or safe from your actual burn or your flames is this waterproof case, Pelican case. And so after you have already launched your data logger, you're going to want to plug your type K thermocouple cable appropriately into the plugs on the data logger. There's some magnets on these Pelican cases that help keep that data logger secure throughout, so everything's not jiggling around inside. And then you also want to make sure, sometimes a gap can occur in the Pelican case, and you also want to make sure that that is actually as snug and as tight as it can possibly be in order to ensure the utmost protectiveness for this data logger. Okay, and after everything is nice, snug, and tight, you want to seal your Pelican case, and then you want to get ready to place it in the field. So once we've plugged in our GPS coordinates and we've located the spot for our desired thermocouple placement, what we're going to do is actually just set them up now. And believe it or not, the vegetation plays a huge role in how you set up your thermocouple. So you want to make sure that it is that the actual thermocouple unit is in a place of bare ground or in a large inner space. That way it's not susceptible to higher temperatures or any long durations of heat that could expose, that it can be exposed to in the middle of a plant. Okay, so using our trusty GPS, we know that this general location is where we want our thermocouple to go. Okay. So Nick's really carefully just threading the thermocouple cable through the vegetation. And what's really helpful is if you can somehow go under the vegetation or under that dense litter layer to really, so you minimize the disturbance. Okay, so Nick is going to be placing the landscape marker over the cable. And what's really important is the very tip of this thermocouple cable, because that is actually what's measuring and registering those crucial temperatures. So when you get it to the desired height, and what we like to go for is 1 centimeter above the vegetation. You don't want that tip directly on the soil surface, okay? Because that's not what you're after when you're measuring. So if you place that thermocouple tip 1 centimeter above the vegetation and then secure it with the landscape pin, that ensures that that tip stays in the desired location.
Okay, just for some extra security for this thermocouple wire, I'm going to place one more of these pins a little farther down from our previous spot of the pin.
Okay, so to review what we've done here now is we have a landscape pin here on the edge of that thermocouple cable. Now, the importance behind this landscape pin is it secures that cable down so it doesn't get displaced during the burn. And then, of course, you see the end of the thermocouple cable, which registers the heat or the temperatures generated from the burn. And what's really important is that tip is 1 centimeter above the soil surface. Okay, so for the further protection of our thermocouple unit, we want to take every precaution possible, which is why Nick has this gray bucket here with a damp towel. It doesn't have to be sopping wet, but it is important to have it damp. And it is also very important to bring this out to your actual field site, so to make sure that cloth stays damp. And so what Nick's going to do is he's going to wrap it around the thermocouple unit. It's really important that the edges are on the bottom of the thermocouple unit, so if during the burn any edges do not come open and expose that thermocouple unit to those lethal temperatures. So believe it or not, all it takes is a simple terry cloth towel, a t-shirt, or even wool to cover these thermocouple units. And we recommend these types of material in grassland settings. So next we're going to show you our recommended procedures if you're dealing with woody species, heavy grass fuels, or if you're actually going to be deploying these thermocouples say two or more hours prior to the start of your burn. So when burying your thermocouple unit, it is important to actually bury the thermocouple unit first and then weave your thermocouple cable through the vegetation to where your desired focal point is. Also, the amount of disturbance that you generate from burying your thermocouple unit is acceptable as long as it is about approximately 3 feet away from where your focal point is on this thermocouple tip. So after you bury your unit, go ahead and reweave your thermocouple cable back through here and make sure you bring a sufficient amount of landscape pins to pin down your cable. Do you have any ideas on how to mark these thermocouple sites before we burn?
Well, as you can see, I have a couple of options here. If you're not worried about too high heat and this plastic piece burning off, a pin flag can work. But in more intense fires, you want to have something that's more durable, that's going to stand out when you have more black present. So we use these golf club ends, and that should be easy to find after a fire.
So after the burn, when you collect your unit, make sure that you take it back to the lab where you can properly shut off the data logger and then collect your data generated from the burn.
So now we are going to stop the logger and save the logged data. After you're done with the burns, you're going to remove the thermocouple units and return them to the office or lab for data retrieval. What we're going to do again is open HoboWare, like we did to launch the data logger, and we're going to connect as we did before with the USB cable. Once we open up HoboWare, under device, we're going to click that and it's going to drop down and we're going to select stop. It's going to ask us if this is alright and we will select yes. Under the device drop down, again, we're going to select status. We're going to look over the battery level and memory used and select OK. And finally, under device, we're going to click that for a third time and select readout. Hit OK, and we will label this file with an appropriate name and place it in an appropriate folder. If you want to see the data, when the plot setup window appears, you can hit plot and you can see the temperature fluctuations from your burn. And to ensure the logger data is not lost, save the log data every time the logger is stopped. When the logger is relaunched, the data will be erased. We hope this video has given you a better understanding of how to use the quick deployment thermocouples. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have a safe burn.